See, when you come from environments where respect means everything, disrespect hits different. It's not just words, it's a challenge, a test, a trigger. But here's what you learn when you've really ground. Every reaction costs you something, and not every battle is worth the energy it takes to win it. There's power in silence, there's discipline in walking away, because when you stay quiet after disrespect, you ain't scared, you're focused. You're saying, I know what I'm building, I know where I'm headed. I don't have time to prove myself to people who already lost sight of who they are. Let's break that down. Real power don't need to announce itself. It don't need to prove nothing. It just moves quietly, consistently, intentionally. The ones that talk the loudest usually do it to cover up what they lack. You ever notice that? The ones really doing the work, really changing their lives, they too busy executing to be explaining. They're not out here trying to prove a point to anybody because they already know who they are and where they're going. See, silence is misunderstood. People think being quiet after disrespect means you scared or soft, but that's not the truth. Staying quiet takes discipline. It takes a level of self-control most people don't have. When you choose silence, you're saying, I'm not letting your energy control mine. You're saying, I got too much purpose to be pulled into petness, because reacting every time someone tests you, that's emotional slavery. You give your power away piece by piece, and before you know it, you're dancing to somebody else's tune. When you protect your frequency, you protect your future. That's why silence is so powerful. When somebody throws disrespect your way, they want a reaction. They want to drag you into their chaos so they can feel important. But when you stay calm, when you don't give them what they're looking for, they start to question their own relevance. You ever seen that? Somebody go out their way to get under your skin, and when you don't bite, they start to look uncomfortable. That's because your peace is louder than their noise. And that's what this game called life is about. Energy management. Every day, you wake up with a limited amount of energy. You can spend it chasing arguments, trying to clap back, trying to prove you're right, or you can spend it building, growing, creating something that lasts. The people who make real progress, they don't let emotions dictate their direction. They move with strategy. They let time speak for them. Look at any real leader, any visionary, any builder who created something out of nothing. They all had moments where they were disrespected, doubted, even laughed at, but they didn't waste breath defending themselves. They just kept building. Because at the end of the day, silence is undefeated when your results are loud enough. The noise fades, the disrespect disappears, and what's left standing is the work you put in. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a man working on a project for years. Nobody believes in it. People talk behind his back, say he's wasting his time. They throw shade because they can't see his vision. Now, he could argue with them, try to convince them why his dream matters. But instead, he keeps his head down. He keeps showing up brick by brick, day by day. Fast forward a few years, and that same project that everyone doubted, it's now feeding his family, employing people, changing lives. He didn't argue his way to success. He built his way there. That's what silence does. It lets results do the talking. When you start to rise, the noise around you gets louder. People will test you. They'll poke at your peace to see if they can pull you off your path. It's not personal. It's just how energy works. The higher your vibration, the more it exposes low vibrations around you. But you can't come down every time someone calls you out. You can't let small minds pull you into small wars. You got to keep your eyes on the bigger picture. Every time you match their energy, you lower your own. And once you lose focus, it's easy to fall back into old habits. You got to move like water, flowing, adapting, never disturbed by the rocks thrown your way. That's what silence looks like in action. It's strength disguised as calm. It's knowing when to speak and when to let your work speak for you. It's not about ignoring disrespect. It's about recognizing that not every battle deserves your presence. I've seen people ruin everything they worked for because they couldn't stay silent in a heated moment. One argument, one tweet, one emotional decision, and everything they built crumbles. You can't let temporary emotions destroy permanent blessings. There's power in pausing. Sometimes the smartest move is no move. Just breathe, think, and keep pushing forward. People might call it arrogance when you don't react, but really, it's maturity. You've just reached a level where peace is more valuable than pride. You understand that your reaction can either feed the fire or starve it. And when you learn to starve the noise, it dies on its own. When you rise above the noise, you enter a lane that's too high for negativity to reach. That's where real power lies, in stillness, in patience, in strategy. It's that quiet grind that nobody sees, that late night planning, that inner dialogue where you remind yourself who you are and what you're here to do. That's where transformation happens. You don't got to post every move. You don't got to respond to every shot. The ones who really got motion know that exposure without progress is just ego talking. Let people underestimate you. Let them talk. The best revenge is to outlast, outwork, and outgrow. You'll know you're in your zone when disrespect don't even move you anymore. When you stop trying to prove yourself and start protecting your peace like it's sacred. Silence don't mean you don't feel the sting. It just means you process it differently. You take that pain, that frustration, and turn it into fuel. You put it into your grind, your goals, your growth. But once you understand that noise can't stop purpose, you stop entertaining distractions. You ever notice that storms don't bother the ocean? The waves just keep moving no matter how rough it gets. That's how you gotta move. Stay in motion, stay aligned. Let time be your voice. Let growth be your response, and let your peace be your protection. Because real power don't scream, real power don't argue, real power just moves steady, silent, and undeniable. The ego is loud, man. It's that voice inside your head that don't ever want to be checked, don't ever want to look weak. It's the one that says, they can't talk to me like that. It's the one that pushes you to clap back, to prove a point, to make sure nobody forgets who you are. But here's the truth. The ego loves chaos. It feeds off reactions. And the moment you feed it, you start losing control. You start making decisions from emotion instead of purpose. That's how most people get trapped, not because they're not capable, but because they can't control that split second between being triggered and taking action. When somebody disrespects you, it's natural to feel the heat rise up. It's human. But the difference between growth and destruction is what you do with that energy. The higher self, the part of you that's focused, wise, and grounded, it whispers something different. It says, don't let them take you off course like that. It's quiet, but it's powerful. The problem is most people don't listen to that voice because it doesn't give instant satisfaction. The ego wants to win right now. The higher self wants the victory that lasts. Think about how many people threw away their future for a few seconds of pride. Somebody said something slick, and instead of walking away, they reacted. Maybe it turned into a fight, maybe a bad decision, maybe a headline that changed everything. They weren't wrong for feeling disrespected. They were human, but they were wrong for letting that emotion drive the wheel. Because once emotion takes over, logic leaves the room. That's the danger of revenge. It feels good in the moment, but costs you more than you can afford later. Revenge wastes energy, and energy is your most valuable currency. You can't chase your purpose, your goals, or your peace if your mind is stuck replaying what somebody did to you. Every time you let disrespect live rent-free in your head, you give that person more power than they deserve. And most of the time, they don't even care. They've already moved on while you're still plotting your comeback. That's not strength. That's being trapped in your own emotions. When you take a step back and breathe, you give yourself a chance to see clearly. That moment of silence between anger and action, that's where your power lies. According to neuroscience, emotional reactions, if left alone, pass in about 90 seconds. That means if you can sit still for a minute and a half, the storm passes. But if you feed it, if you replay what they said, imagine how you're going to respond, talk about it with everybody, you give it new life, you keep it burning. That's how small moments turn into big mistakes. The real challenge is learning how to let that fire burn without letting it burn you. When you master that, you become untouchable. People will still test you, but you move with such calmness that they can't shake your foundation. You'll learn that silence doesn't mean surrender. It means self-respect. You're not ignoring what they did. You're just choosing not to let it steal your destiny. In every industry, in every neighborhood, in every family, there's a story of someone who lost everything because they couldn't control that moment of emotion. Maybe it was a deal that went left because pride got in the way. Maybe a friendship ended because nobody wanted to be the one to calm down first. Maybe someone reacted in anger and ended up in a situation they could never take back. That's how the ego traps you. It makes you think you're defending yourself when really you're destroying yourself. Revenge is heavy. It ties you to the same energy that hurt you. You start carrying that pain around, and it poisons everything you touch. You can't focus on building something new when your hands are still busy trying to tear something down. You can't attract blessings when you're broadcasting bitterness. Life is about elevation, but you can't rise if you're holding grudges. You gotta learn to let people deal with the karma they've earned. You don't have to deliver it for them. The truth is, success is the only revenge that really speaks. It's the kind that doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to humiliate or clap back. It just shines. When you stay locked in on your goals, when you keep your energy clean, the same people who doubted you will have to watch you win. Not because you rubbed it in their face, but because you refuse to let their disrespect distract you. That's how you flip pain into purpose. You use what they did as fuel, not as fire for destruction, but as light for direction. It's about emotional maturity, the ability to choose peace when pride wants war. It's easy to fight back. It's hard to rise above. But the ones who rise above are the ones who actually win long term. The ego only thinks about today. The higher self is playing the long game. The ego wants validation. The higher self wants transformation. When you choose peace over revenge, you're telling the universe you're ready for more. You're saying, I trust that what's mine can't be taken, and what's not mine isn't worth fighting for. You start realizing that not every battle is yours to fight. Some things you just gotta let unfold, because karma, energy, whatever you want to call it, it never misses. The energy people put out always circles back. That's a universal law. When you understand that you don't get mad anymore, you get motivated, you focus on what's next, you start building learning, evolving. You stop chasing revenge and start chasing purpose. And purpose gives you a peace that revenge never could. Revenge might make you feel good for a second, but purpose gives you fulfillment for a lifetime. Revenge looks backward. Purpose looks forward. One keeps you stuck, the other sets you free. So when disrespect shows up, and it will remind yourself this is a test, not a trap. A test of patience, discipline, and emotional control. The real ones pass it by breathing through the moment, staying calm, staying focused. They understand that no amount of disrespect is worth losing their direction. You're not weak for walking away. You're strong for protecting your peace. Because revenge might make you feel powerful, but peace makes you unstoppable. That's the shift when you stop letting the ego dictate your actions and start letting wisdom guide your steps. When you stop trying to win the argument and start winning at life, that's the real flex. Staying unbothered, staying focused, staying elevated, because the higher you climb, the quieter you become. And when your growth starts talking for you, the same people who disrespected you will have no choice but to listen. Time is the greatest truth teller there is. You don't have to argue, you don't have to prove, and you definitely don't have to expose anybody. Because time already has a way of doing all that for you. It's patient, but it never misses. You might not see it right away, and that's what makes it hard, watching people lie, manipulate, move grimy, and still get applause for it. But trust me, that applause don't last. Time always comes through and balances everything out. It's undefeated in that way. The real ones understand something simple. You can't fake consistency. You can fake a post, fake a look, fake an image for a while, but you can't fake foundation. You can't fake the energy that comes from moving with integrity. That's why the quiet ones, the ones who just keep working, they end up outlasting the ones who chase quick validation. Because consistency beats flash every single time. Time makes sure of that. You ever watch somebody talk bad about a person who didn't even defend themselves? They kept their head down, kept working, and years later, their results did all the talking. That's how time moves. It don't rush, it don't argue. It just reveals. The same people who doubted you, who play with your name, they eventually have to face the truth, not because you exposed them, but because life did. The light always finds its way to the surface. You just got to stay patient enough to let it happen. People who move with bad intentions usually win fast, but they never last long. It's like eating junk food. Feels good right away, but it don't nourish you. It don't sustain you. On the other hand, building something real takes time, takes discipline, takes silence. It's like planting a seed. You don't see growth the same day you plant it, but every day you water it, something is happening underground that you can't see yet. That's how purpose works. That's how truth works. There's a lot of noise in the world right now. Everybody trying to prove something. Everybody trying to look successful instead of be successful. But time don't care about perception. Time only measures what's real. That's why the best thing you can do after being disrespected or doubted is to just keep your focus tight. Keep stacking your wins quietly, because every action, every decision, every moment of discipline is putting receipts in your pocket that time will cash out later. I've seen people destroy their own reputation by trying too hard to tear somebody else down. They move with hate in their heart, thinking it's power. But hate always circles back. It poisons the one holding it. Time makes sure of that too. You don't have to lift a finger for karma to do its work. It's already in motion. That's why you can't get distracted by the drama. You can't let their noise become your soundtrack. Sometimes it's painful to watch lies spread faster than truth. It's hard to stay quiet when you know your name is being twisted, when you know your intentions were pure. But understand this, time don't need your help. Every lie has an expiration date. Every false image eventually cracks. That's just how energy works. And when the truth finally shows up, it doesn't come whispering. It comes with light so bright that it blinds the ones who tried to dim it. Think about how many people went through dark seasons because someone misjudged them, misunderstood them, or flat out lied on them. But they didn't stop. They didn't fight back with the same negativity. They just stayed focused on growth. And when the years passed, those same people who were once talked about are now respected for their strength. That's time exposing everything. That's how real justice moves. There's beauty in patience when you understand it's not weakness. Patience is protection. Time is your filter. It removes what's fake, what's forced, and what's temporary. When you rush to prove yourself, you interrupt that process. You step out of alignment, trying to speed up something that's meant to unfold naturally. You don't have to rush truth. Truth don't need urgency. It just needs endurance. That's why I tell people, stop trying to clap back on every disrespect. Stop trying to post your pain to prove your point. Let time handle it. Time knows who's real. Time knows who is solid when nobody was watching. It's a marathon, not a sprint. A sprint looks flashy, but a marathon builds legacy, and legacy don't argue, it just stands. You ever notice how the loudest ones eventually go quiet because the truth always silences noise? People can only pretend for so long before the mask gets heavy. But when you're moving in truth, you don't have to remember what to say or how to act. You just be you. That's why real always outlasts fake. Time just gives it the stage to show the difference. Some of the most successful people didn't get there by defending themselves every time someone came at them. They let their results speak. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Because when you're really locked in, you start to understand that every minute you spend proving yourself is a minute you could have spent building yourself. You can't do both at the same time, so you choose. You either chase validation or chase evolution. One feeds your ego, the other feeds your purpose. You'll find that when you focus on your own path, people eventually expose themselves. The same ones that threw shade start to show their insecurities. The same ones who laughed end up needing advice. The same ones who try to block you end up watching you from a distance. That's not your doing, that's time rearranging everything. That's the natural order of things. It's easy to want instant justice, to want the world to see how wrong they were. But if you stay patient, the universe does it better than you ever could. The truth don't need defense, it just needs time. Because time don't lie, it exposes motives, reveals intentions, and brings every hidden thing to light. You don't gotta rush it, you just gotta keep doing the work that keeps you grounded. When you're on your grind, when you're focused on growth, you start to understand that not all battles are meant for you to fight. Some are meant for you to outlast, because while they're busy gossiping, you're busy growing. While they're spending energy trying to bring you down, you're spending energy building something they could never destroy. That's how you win, not by fighting fire with fire, but by staying cool enough to let the flames burn themselves out. And when time finally does what it always does, when it pulls back the curtain, the truth hits harder than any response ever could. People start connecting the dots. They see who was solid, who was fake, who stood tall, and who folded. That's not your job to point out, that's time's job, and it never misses a shift. So you keep building, keep your character clean, keep your focus sharp, because time is watching everything. It might take a while, but when it finally reveals the truth, you'll realize every second of patience was worth it. Loud lies fade, but solid actions echo forever. Peace is one of those things you don't really understand the value of until you lose it. When you finally get a taste of real peace, the kind where your mind is still, your spirit calm, your decisions clear, you realize it's more valuable than money, attention, or approval. Peace is the new luxury. It's the one thing everybody's chasing, but few people actually find. Some folks got everything the world says should make them happy. Money, followers, cars, all that, and still can't sleep at night. You can see it in their eyes, hear it in their voice. They're restless, because peace don't come from what's outside of you, it comes from what's inside. Every day the world tries to pull that peace away from you. Disrespect, gossip, jealousy, distractions, they all come for your energy. The test is whether you give it up or guard it. Because every time you react to something small, every time you let somebody pull you out of character, you trade peace for pride. And that's a bad deal every time. Pride might make you feel powerful in the moment, but peace keeps you powerful for life. Pride is short-term satisfaction. Peace is long-term strength. You can rebuild money. You can fix your reputation. You can recover from a loss. But when your peace is gone, everything starts to crumble. Your focus, your patience, your creativity, even your relationships. That's why protecting it has to be a priority, not a luxury. Peace is what keeps you aligned with purpose. Without it, even blessings start to feel heavy. You stop enjoying your success because you're constantly fighting battles that don't matter. Think about how many times you've been having a good day until somebody said something that hits your pride, and suddenly you're replaying it in your head for hours. You stop being present. You stop being productive. That's how easy it is to give your peace away. Most people think protecting peace means avoiding people or isolating yourself, but real peace ain't about distance. It's about discipline. It's about training yourself not to let outside noise shake your inner calm. When your mind is still, you make better moves. You see things clear. You start to recognize what's worth your attention and what's just background noise. You start to feel the difference between real problems and distractions dressed as emergencies. A still mind gives you vision. It helps you see the long game while everybody else is getting caught up in the moment. And that's how you separate yourself, by learning how to stay calm when everything around you is loud. You ever notice that the people who always need to prove a point are the ones who never seem to be at peace? They can't let anything go. Every comment, every rumor, every slight becomes a battle. But when you've really found peace, you don't argue with noise. You outgrow it. You understand that silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing you don't have to win every argument because you're focused on winning your life. Protecting your peace means learning how to pause. It means before you respond, you breathe. Before you let someone's words stick to you, you remember who you are. The moment you let your emotions lead, you lose control of your direction. But when you stay calm, you stay in command. You decide what gets your attention, and that's real power. A peaceful mind attracts better energy. The kind of energy that brings opportunity, love, and abundance. Because peace is magnetic, it pulls the right people towards you and pushes the wrong ones away. The more peace you build, the less chaos can find you. You start noticing how things that used to bother you don't even move you anymore. That's when you know you've grown. When you stop needing to prove, to explain, to react, you just observe and keep moving. When somebody throws shade, it's not always about you. Sometimes it's just a reflection of what they're carrying inside. People who are hurt, bitter, or insecure project that energy because they don't know how to process it. So when they disrespect you, It's not an invitation to war, it's a test. The universe is asking you still in control of your peace, or are you giving it away for free again? And how you respond determines what kind of blessings come next. The mature answer is silence. Not silence because you're scared, but silence because you understand the value of your energy. You can't be arguing with everyone who misunderstands you. That's not peace, that's exhaustion. The ones who get it don't need an explanation, and the ones who don't will twist your words anyway, so why waste your breath? Keep your energy for things that grow you, not drain you. Sometimes people will mistake your peace for arrogance. They'll think you don't care because you're not reacting, but peace doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you don't fold, it means you've learned to protect your mental space the same way you protect your physical space. You wouldn't let just anybody walk into your home and start breaking things, so why let them walk into your mind and start breaking your spirit? Peace is your real wealth because it gives you the foundation to build everything else. When you got peace, you think clearer, love better, move smarter, and dream bigger. You stop chasing temporary highs and start chasing lasting fulfillment. And the funny thing is, when you stop reacting to negativity, your life gets quieter but richer. Fewer arguments, fewer fake connections, fewer distractions, just focus, flow, and forward motion. There will always be people who try to disrupt that. Some do it out of jealousy, some out of ignorance, some just because they're used to chaos. Don't match their energy. Let them stay where they at. You can't heal in the same place that hurt you, and you can't grow in spaces that thrive on drama. Protecting your peace might mean walking away from people, habits, or situations that no longer serve your growth. That's not disloyalty, that's self-respect. It takes strength to protect peace. It takes maturity to say, I don't have to attend every argument I'm invited to. It takes growth to understand that not everything deserves your reaction. You start valuing quiet mornings, real conversations, and moments of stillness. You start choosing peace even when chaos is the easier option. That's evolution. When you realize peace ain't something you find, it's something you build one decision at a time. So when someone tries to bring negativity your way, remind yourself this is a test. Are you still in control of your peace, or are you giving it away again? Every time you stay silent, every time you walk away instead of reacting, you pass that test. And every time you pass, your blessings multiply, because the universe rewards those who protect what's sacred, and there's nothing more sacred than your peace. Karma don't rush for nobody, but it never forgets. It's patient, precise, and poetic in the way it moves. You might not see it happen when you expect it to, and that's what frustrates most people. We live in a time where everybody wants instant justice, instant payback, instant proof that they were right and someone else was wrong. But karma don't work on your schedule. It's not about your emotions, it's about energy, and energy always finds its way back home. You can't hide from what you put out into the world, no matter how long it takes. That's just law. When you start to understand that, you move different. You stop trying to control every outcome. You stop chasing revenge or trying to force things to happen. You learn to fall back, to let time and energy do their work. Because if you really pay attention, karma don't just punish, it also rewards. The same way negative energy circles back, so does the positive. The seeds you plant today, whether they're good or bad, they all grow eventually. That's why it's so important to stay intentional with everything you do, even when you're angry or hurt, especially then, because that's when your character's being tested. When people do you wrong, your ego will tell you to get even. It'll say, don't let that slide, handle it now. But wisdom tells you to stay calm, to trust that life keeps score better than you ever could. You might not see karma come back around for months or years, but it's always in motion. It don't forget, it don't miss. Sometimes it moves so quietly that when it finally arrives, it feels like divine timing, because that's what it is, divine. You couldn't have orchestrated it better yourself. You ever seen someone do you dirty, talk behind your back, try to mess up your name, and you stay quiet, you keep working, keep growing, keep moving forward, and one day you look up, they're stuck in the same place they were, or worse, they're dealing with the same kind of energy they sent your way. That's not coincidence. That's karma spinning the block. She don't need to make noise or send a warning. She just shows up, delivers what's owed, and keeps moving. The crazy part is sometimes karma don't even come to hurt people. Sometimes it comes to teach them, to show them the weight of what they put out. You might wish for payback, but the universe has a bigger plan. It's not about making things even, it's about making things right. That's why you can't interfere with that process. You might want to see them feel what you felt, but life knows exactly when and how to make that lesson hit. And when it does, it's poetic, clean, precise. That's why when you're locked in on your purpose, you don't have to worry about revenge. Karma becomes your bodyguard. She walks behind you, watching the things you can't see. You stay focused on your mission, and she handles the energy around you. Every person who wronged you, every situation that tried to break you, she's keeping tabs. She don't act out of anger, she acts out of balance. That's what makes her undefeated. The people who move with bad intentions might look like they're winning for a while. They might even flex their temporary success, laugh like they got away with it. But give it time. Karma's patient. She waits for the right moment, the one that really counts. And when she comes back around, she don't take half measures. She don't show up sloppy. She comes correct, quiet, clean, and undeniable. And you'll be standing there not with revenge in your heart, but with peace. Because by the time karma handles it, you'll be so far ahead, so elevated, that you won't even need to say, I told you so. Your life will say it for you. I've seen it happen in real life. People who try to ruin someone's name end up ruining their own. Folks who try to block blessings end up blocking their own lane. People who betrayed someone loyal end up surrounded by the same kind of betrayal later. It always circles back. You can't escape the law of energy. You get what you give always. That's why I tell people, don't waste your energy trying to wish bad on anybody. You don't need to throw dirt when the universe already knows where to aim the lessons. Stay clean, stay solid, and let time do its thing. It's not easy, though. It's hard watching people move foul and still look like they're winning. It tests your patience, tests your faith. You start wondering when's their turn, but that's when you gotta remind yourself your focus ain't them. It's you. Every second you spend watching their karma is a second you could have been building your own blessings. Keep your eyes on your purpose. The universe can reward you if you're too busy watching someone else's consequences. And understand this karma don't just come for actions, it comes for intentions. You can't hide behind pretending to do good if your heart's not pure. You might fool people, but you can't fool energy. It knows what's real. That's why it's important to move with love even when you're surrounded by hate. Because your intentions are your signature in the universe. Everything you do, think, and say leaves a mark that comes back to you in time. That's what makes energy sacred. It never dies, it just travels. When you really start living by that truth, you stop moving out of revenge and start moving out of alignment. You start planting good seeds even in bad soil, because you know that harvest always comes. It might take longer, but it's coming. You start forgiving not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You start letting go not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know that holding on to bitterness just delays your own blessings. And when that moment comes, when karma finally spins the block, it won't be messy, it won't be loud. It'll be smooth, perfect timing. You might get a random call from someone saying, remember that person, they're going through it now. Or you might just see it unfold naturally, and deep down you'll know that's balance. You didn't have to lift a finger. You just had to stay solid, stay grounded, and trust the process. That's the lesson. Let karma do the talking. Don't waste your breath trying to convince people who lied on you. Don't waste your energy proving yourself to those who betrayed you. Life already has the receipts. The same way the sun rises every morning, the truth always comes out. You just got to give it time. So keep building. Keep your energy clean. Keep your focus sharp. Every time you choose peace over revenge, you're speeding up your blessings and letting karma handle your battles. You don't owe anyone an explanation or a reaction. You owe yourself peace. Because when you're truly in alignment, you'll realize you don't need to chase justice. Justice already lives inside the rhythm of the universe, and it always finds its way back around. In this life, disrespect is guaranteed, but your reaction is optional. Don't waste time trying to prove your worth to people who already disrespected it. Prove it to yourself through growth, through consistency, through patience. Your silence is not surrender, it's strategy. It's saying, I'm focused on my lane. I'm building something real. And when karma speaks for me, it's going to speak louder than I ever could. So stay quiet, stay grounded, stay moving, because the ones who stay silent in the face of disrespect, they always end up with the last word, and it's spelled success.